E-commerce store owners get Google Shopping ads so wrong. I mean, they believe that just launching a standard shopping campaign or a feed-only performance max campaign with a very high bid and a very high budget is what will do the trick and get them to the very front of the Google Shopping listings. Unfortunately, that's the fastest way to become unprofitable and actually lose money long-term with Google Ads. So in this video, I want to show you the exact strategy I use to make a lot of my Google Shopping ads 70 to 80% go viral regardless of the brand or the industry the store is in. What you want to understand is that with Google Ads, the algorithm wants to favor your brand. It wants to favor your product and get you to these top listings in the front. However, your brand needs to deserve it in Google's eyes. So what Google thoroughly looks for is it looks for the quality of your entire store and whether you are a real brand that cares about its customers or whether you're just a random dropshipper or just a random brand that doesn't really even fulfill its orders or service the customers the right way. Because the ultimate goal for Google's algorithm is to get the user, meaning me or any other person searching or even you, to come back onto Google's platform to search again. It wants to this continuous cycle of users, normal users, searching every single day for different products they wish to buy. That's how Google makes money. So it's not just about your brand, it's about collectively as a whole, the platform. This comes from a lot of different factors, such as from your product feed, such as from your product titles, the prices you have your products at, even how old is your website. All these things taken into account is what allows the algorithm to even start pushing a lot of these brands towards virality. Now, the main question is, how do you use all of this information to now start going viral? I've kind of divided the virality formula into several different parts, but essentially how virality even starts is number one with a high quality score. Having a high quality score essentially leads your brand to higher quality traffic. This is when instead of getting the small piece of the pie, you start getting larger portions of the pie. But from this high quality score that leads to the high quality traffic, then that leads you to more sales, which ultimately brings a higher CTR. And this higher CTR and more sales, that's what Google starts to look at. That's when Google starts to understand, hey, this brand is high quality, because so many of our users are not only clicking on their ads, they're spending a lot of time on their website and they're actually purchasing. This is when virality starts to get introduced slowly over time for some of your products. And at this point, this is when the cycle then starts to repeat. This virality then starts helping you with that high quality score again, which then gets you even higher quality traffic, so on and so forth. So think of this as a whole loop. This is where you want your brand to be stuck in within this loop. Now, the first portion of this loop is the most important because that's what gets this started. That's what gets the virality effect come into play. And this effect starts with the quality score. Now, the quality score itself also has its own formula, which is landing page experience plus the expected CTR, meaning the expected click-through rate of your ads or your potential ads, plus the bids and budgets, the overall score of your bids and budgets. Now, obviously, what we're trying to do within this equation is keep the bids and budgets low because you want to make as much money as possible without spending too much. So the bids and budgets we can kind of disregard for now, but landing page experience, this is where you absolutely need to do customer research, audience research to understand what the users that shop within your niche or shop buy your products want to see. Do they want to see a lot of red color, or is it mostly woman based and they want to see more pink or something more feminine? What do they want to see? That's your first question, because that will lead you to a landing page, which gets people staying on it for a longer period of time. And this is ultimately connected with Google Ads as well. But once the landing page is spot on, once it has the right elements to it, then that leads you to the high expected CTRs. Now, to get expected CTRs going through the roof, you need to make sure your product images, your product titles are on point. Obviously, they need to be the opposite of your competitor. So like in this example, if everybody is a white background, plain simple competitors, plain simple image, you need to come with something that just stands out. You know, it doesn't have to be the craziest thing in the world. You don't have to go out and do photography, hire a photographer. It could be something as simple as this. Now, this is not the highest quality and I would probably take a different approach, but nonetheless, it captured my attention because my attention went to this guy first and then it went to the rest of these listings right here. This is how you capture this impression share, how you increase that CTR to funnel into this quality score equation. But in addition to that, expected CTR can also be increased through having trust factors like these reviews or having a green colored pricing instead of black through the promo section, and so on and so forth. All these things help increase that expected CTR. But finally, that brings us to the bids and budgets. Obviously, you need to have something that's competitive. I highly recommend a lot of the smart bidding based strategies in the beginning, as well as just even during the scaling phase, because if you go the manual bidding route, then that means you're just guessing random bids, and that's never really an ideal approach. But what this brings you then is to the actual Google campaign approaches and the Google campaign strategies. And before we get into that though, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year and you need just a little bit of extra help scaling to the very next level with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me to see essentially how we can work together and make that happen. But the right Google Ads strategy, it's supposed to be one that is simple. It's supposed to be one that guides the algorithm in the right direction. It should be simple and it should be direct. But in addition to that, there should be segregation in effect. So you cannot just jumble a bunch of things in and just tell the algorithm to go out and find you your best audience just because you have a good foundation in place, just because your quality score you imagine has been worked on and it's supposed to be high. It still needs a good Google Ads strategy to really take things to the very next level. But once you do all of these things, once the quality score is on point, once the landing page is good, once your CTRs are high, you already have a strong foundation in Google's eyes. And once you match that up with the right strategy, with the right approach in terms of campaigns, that's when everything starts kicking together. That's when everything starts working together as an ecosystem, as a funnel, to then scale the brand aggressively. That's when virality is introduced, and that's when your ads start appearing in the front without you having to bid too much, without you having to do all these fancy things, all these different approaches. And that's the ultimate goal if you want to scale your brand consistently with Google Ads. But if you run a brand doing $1 million a year and you want to scale to the very next level with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me to see essentially how we can work together and make that happen. But check out this video right here on a brand which we use these tactics to make it go viral with Google Shopping Ads.